Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Hallie and I'm so happy that you're here, and welcome back to Bookmas Day 4. For today's Bookmas video, we are going to be reading the highest and the lowest rated books according to Goodreads on my physical TBR. Over on Goodreads, I have a bunch of different lists. One of them is a compilation of every single book that I currently physically own that are sitting on my bookshelves waiting to be read. And I have wanted to film this video, I'm not even kidding, for over a year at this point, and the reason that I haven't is simply because I already know what the highest and lowest rated books are that are currently on my physical TBR, and they're both books that I have been actively avoiding reading for very different reasons. So this video is extremely intimidating to me because it's going to force me to read two books that I have been avoiding and putting off reading. To get into what the books are and why I have been avoiding them, first of all, starting off with the lowest rated book currently on my physical TBR, we have Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. Literally all I know about this book is that it is a romance, and I think it's set in a winery, and also the main character's name is Hallie and she spells it the same way as me, which I thought was so cool. I honestly still think that's really cool. I've never read a book where the main character has my name, let alone like met people in real life that has the same name as me, and especially where it's spelt the same way. I've met one other person in junior high that had the same name as me, but she spelt it differently, and then actually this year my younger sister made a friend whose name is Hallie and she spells it the same way as me as well, but that's literally it. So I was really excited to see that the main character had the same name as me, and like the setting of a vineyard just sounds so cute. But last year I read two Tessa Bailey Christmas books. One of them was just like a little audiobook novella that was like a set of a bunch of little mini novellas. I read that and also Window Shopping, and both of those just fell so flat for me. I feel like I honestly like just didn't really vibe with the comedy in the books. It at times felt just like really cringy, which I feel so bad saying, but like I don't know, it just was not hitting for me. That, and I also just like wasn't vibing with the way that the romance was written. I just feel like there wasn't enough of like a deeply emotional through line, I guess, in the plot for me, like in what I have realized that I like in romance. It was a lot more spice to emotional connection ratio than I have realized that I like. I obviously, as we know, love spice in books. I feel like it adds so much to books, but what I have realized is that I definitely need like a very deeply emotional plot line alongside with the spice in order for the spice to really feel like important in the book and like meaningful and necessary in the book. I just have realized that I don't enjoy reading spice for the sake of reading spice. I like reading it where it feels like it has a purpose, if that makes sense. So after that experience with those two Tessa Bailey books, I have put off reading any more of her books. I currently have 4 unread Tessa Bailey books on my shelves because of that. So I am very skeptical going into this one just because I don't think it's going to be something that I love. I think it might be like cute and fluffy and like an enjoyable read in the moment, but I don't necessarily have hopes for this one being like one of my top favorite romances or anything like that when I finish reading this one. Moving on to the highest rated book currently on my physical TBR, it is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. I have pretty much been avoiding this one for the exact opposite reason of the Tessa Bailey one. I think that I will really enjoy this one. However, it's really intimidating for me. One, because it's a genre that I really have not read like hardly anything of. I mean, I think technically Divine Rivals, a lot of people say reads like a historical romance because of the setting and everything like that, but that also had like fantasy elements, so it was a little bit more comfortable for me to go in because I read so much fantasy, so that felt very like normal to go into, like having the fantasy elements and stuff like that. But this is literally just a historical romance, and not only is it a genre that I haven't really read very much of, but it's very long. In genres that I've read a lot of, honestly, I don't think that like the length of books really intimidates me anymore. When I first got into reading, it most definitely did, no matter what the genre. If it was more than like 300 pages, I was terrified. But like I read so much fantasy, and so many of those books are like 500 pages, 600 pages, like 1,000 pages. So I feel like the length of a book typically does not intimidate me too much anymore, because as long as I know that I'm going to be super interested in it, I'm like, I will want that much information. Like I'll be in the middle of the story and like be wanting more. And now a lot of times in fantasy, it's like I finish a book that's like 400 pages and I'm like, I want 200 pages more. Like why is it over so soon? So I think that the only reason that the length of this book is kind of playing a part into that intimidation factor is simply because I'm not sure how much this will keep my attention, just because I haven't read that much of the genre. And trying to be a reader with ADHD, it's like I have to be very interested in what I'm reading in order for me to be able to actually read the book, enjoy the book, remember what I'm reading, and not like a daydream throughout the entire thing. So I think that all around, that is why this is so intimidating to me. But people have have said that this is like such a beautiful, deeply emotional book, and that is just something that I really, really enjoy in books. And honestly, like I was kind of saying when I was talking about the Tessa Bailey book, like that is just something that for me ends up kind of giving a book a higher rating. Like if it gets to me emotionally, or if it's like really emotionally impactful, like a book will really stay with me a lot longer as well if it has like just a really good, deep, emotional plot line as well. So I'm really excited to read this, but also just so nervous about it. So this is going to be a very interesting reading vlog, but honestly, even though these books are intimidating and it's like so scary to finally start them after putting them off for literally years. I mean, like Secretly Yours I bought when I was very first getting into reading, so that would have been at the end of 2023. That's how long this has been sitting on my physical TBR. So it's time to get these books read and off of my physical TBR, and it always does feel really accomplishing whenever you finally read and finish books that you've been putting off for a really long time. So I am excited about that. I'm just very like nervous and intrigued to see how this goes, and also if I end up agreeing with the Goodreads ratings on these. So I think my game plan for this is going to be to, one, start off with the lower rated book, get into the flow, kind of get rid of some of the nerves of starting two books that I've been avoiding for a very long time. And then I think instead of reading them fully just back to back, I'm going to try and approach this from like a mood reading standpoint. So I'm gonna get into this, make myself start this so that I can just, because a lot of times like books you've been avoiding too, it's like once you start it, you start to like lose some of that intimidation factor, because you're like, okay, this is like not nearly as bad as I thought it would be in my head. Not bad as in the book's bad, but like scary, I guess. It's like not nearly as scary as you think it will be in your head when you've been putting a book off for a very long time. So that's what I'm gonna do. Get hopefully a good way into this, and then also pick up The Nightingale, get into both of these, and then I will come back to you guys with my first thoughts and opinions on both of these books and see how it's going. Okay, I was only like 11 pages into the book and I completely read something the wrong way. I misinterpreted it so bad that I almost was like, no, like I'm gonna have to DNF this book, but that was like user error. There was a part where the main character is talking about the male main character, and the main character's friend is like, oh, you remember that one guy that you like got drunk one time and you almost kissed him and you've had a crush on him ever since? And she's like, yeah. And she's like, oh, I heard he's in town. And she's like, no way, like no, he's not. And she's like, yeah, he's like a professor up at this one school or something like that. And immediately after talking about how he's like a professor at the school, you go into like a flashback to her saying that she's been in love with him since she was a freshman in high school, and like apparently they were like drunk at a party and they like almost kissed, but then he didn't because he was like, oh, you're a freshman, like I can't kiss you. And when it said that, I literally was so flabbergasted, because in my mind, okay, we just learned that he's a professor over here. In my mind, I'm thinking like, okay, she fell in love with him at 14, like was she in love with her professor? Why was he at a party almost kissing her? Why was he drunk at a party with high schoolers almost kissing her when she's a freshman in high school? So then after I read that, okay, that's on page 11, I go back over here and I reread, because I'm like, maybe they're in college, okay, maybe she's a freshman in college, so it's like not as bad. And it literally says, and remember you got sloshed and told me you've been in love with Julian Voss, the son, since you were a freshman in high school. So it like specifically says freshman in high school. So then I'm like, there's just no way that that's like put in here so casually. So then I reread the whole thing again, and I'm literally so confused, because I'm like, if this is the case and like she has been in love with this professor, this like adult, since she was a freshman in high school, like there's no way it's gonna be thrown in here so casually. And I'm like rereading it, so confused. Then I finally go back to read the synopsis of the book. So I'm like, you know what, maybe I should like read the synopsis and see if it explicitly says it's like an age gap romance or something, because like this might end up being the first book that I ever DNF if that's the case, because that's just crazy. And on the back of the book it says, but the grumpy professor isn't the teenager she remembers. So I think that they were actually both teenagers in the flashback, but just something about the way that that was written was so confusing. I'm like, maybe it's just me and that's like a stupid misunderstanding, but I was like deeply concerned for a second that they were just like throwing that in there so casually. I was like genuinely about to just DNF the book, and I've never DNF'd a book before. Like I have commitment issues, honestly, when it comes to books. Like I have to see it through even if I'm like not really having a good time. I feel like I need the closure of like knowing the story start to finish, and then like if I don't like it, I'll wash my hands of it and send it on its way. But I've literally never DNF'd a book before, and because I thought that's what was happening, reading, I was fully ready to just like set it down and be done, but that's not the case. So that was just user error. So anyway, I just had to tell you guys that because I just thought that was crazy. Also, I thought it was funny because the main character of this book's name is Hallie. There was this part, where is it? I just thought that this was funny. This literally has nothing to do with the book really, but it says, Hallie didn't have a method to her madness. It was all gut feelings, chaotic like the rest of her life. And I'm like, that's so funny. Like, why is the one character whose name is Hallie just like a chaotic mess like me? It only makes sense, right? Right. Okay. I'm gonna keep reading now, but I had to mention. Okay. And I'm back. I've made it 12 pages, I think, and it's like after I figured out that, okay, no, he did not groom her from the time that she was a freshman in high school, I thought everything would be fine. I was like, you know what, let's keep going. Everything is fine. He's not a predator. But I just read the scene where the two characters meet for the first time, and it just like is putting me off. Like, I don't know. I do not really love the way that they met, because like normally I feel like whenever you run into someone who you haven't seen in years and you had a really special moment, but like you don't talk, like it's a really magical moment, and you like, or like if in this case with the male main character does not remember her, you would expect him to look up and talk about like, oh, it's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, or like something other than what he said. Like, just what he said is just throwing me off. He literally sees her. It says, he finished turning, and right there in front of Julian was the single most incredible pair of breasts he'd ever seen. And Julian wasn't the type to gawk at women, but these breasts were just below his eyeline, mere inches from his face. There was simply no looking away. And it goes on for like the rest of the paragraph where he's just talking about her yitties, and I'm like, buddy, look up, maybe. Like, look up, look at her, maybe. And then she talks, she says something, and it refers to her as the breasts. It says, is it true, question mark, asked the breasts. Is it just me? That's kind of like, I don't know, I don't love that, honestly. I feel like there's more to her than yitties. There's just so much mention. Why? Like, and he still hasn't looked up, and then you turn the page, finally. Oh, and her smile is beautiful, and her hairs are curly. And then I'm pretty sure it goes back to the breasts. And then he's looking down and like noticing her curves and stuff like that. I just feel like it's so much attention to like that and not like her. And also like because of the fact that he like doesn't remember her and she remembers him, I just feel like that's so like degrading feeling if I'm putting myself in her position. Like, she's been in love with this man ever since they had this really special moment to her, and she has literally followed him on Facebook and checked if he's single and like been like just secretly pining after him. And then she finally has the chance to run into him again. She expects him to recognize her and have this really special moment, and literally all he notices are her yitties and her curves. Like, I don't know. Only page 24, and I'm like, I don't know about that. So I'm gonna keep reading, but okay, in comparison to the Christmas novellas, I do already like the writing in this book better. I think that for like her writing style, like the novella format where like the book is much more condensed, I think especially like I just don't really like that because it gets into the romance a lot quicker, obviously because the book is so much shorter. So I will give this that. Like, I do think that maybe I didn't start off on the right foot with her by like doing her Christmas novellas first, because this is in fact better than those, I think. But it's just like the little things like that where it's like, I don't know, like I just don't love that. Like, that does not make me really like the male main character. So then it's like, what am I gonna be rooting for? This guy is honestly annoying me right now because it's like, why are you focusing so much on that? Like, you just met her. Like, I don't know. But like, I don't know if that's like me being nitpicky or if that's genuinely like, you know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I feel like also I'm second guessing it because I rarely have books like this where I like have things that irritate me, because I'm like such a mood reader that I usually don't read books that I don't think I will like, because I want to read for enjoyment. So like, I literally was just thinking about unhauling all of my Tessa Bailey books because I didn't think it was something I would like, but I'm like, I feel like I need to try one of her full-length novels before I unhaul the rest of them, because again, like novellas can be like such a different vibe to like the author's full-length novel. So I was like, I feel like it's only fair to give one of her books fully a try. But I do think that if I finish this whole thing and I don't end up vibing with it, I think I'm just going to unhaul the rest of my Tessa Bailey books and just accept that she is not the right romance author for me, which is so interesting because I have a couple of friends who love Tessa Bailey books and we have similar taste in books in like the fantasy genre, but I just think that this is just not my vibe currently in contemporary romance, but I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep reading. I'll let you guys know if anything else comes up. Hopefully not. Hopefully we kind of get some of that like cringiness out in the beginning, and then once the actual like romance starts building again, like hopefully there's something actually substantial in here and not just so much on like the physicalness of it all, I guess, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm losing hope. I am here with updates on Secretly Yours. Let's have a little chat. I am officially 186 pages into Secretly Yours. I can't say it's going much better. I mean, okay, slightly, and I will explain. So first of all I have to say is that I know I was getting irritated at the mailman character yesterday for just like ogling, is that the word? Ogling her so much? Is it oogling or ogling? I don't know. I know I was getting irritated at him for that, and all I have to say is she's not much better herself, because literally like a chapter or two later, she's going on and on paragraphs because she saw him bent over, and she just is like, wow, look at that ass. Like, you two need to get it together. What are you guys doing? So anyway, there's that. What I will say has gotten better is like, I like the actual premise of this book. Basically, it's called Secretly Yours because since she obviously remembered her encounter with him in high school and he does not remember, her and her friend are like, I'm pretty sure drunk one night, and they come up with an idea to write him secret admirer letters and like leave them for him to find, and she signs the letters at the end, Secretly Yours, and then he ends up responding to the letters. So like that aspect of the book, like I feel like that premise is really, really cute. I really like in books where the characters are writing letters and like either one or both of the characters don't know that they're writing to each other. I feel like that's so cute, and it's like very much You've Got Mail coded, which I love that movie. So like I feel like that premise is so cute, but I just think that the execution is falling flat for me just because I just don't think that Tessa Bailey's writing is for me at this point. Like it's okay, but it's not something that I'm like loving or have been able to like get fully immersed in. So I honestly at this point, like I'm ready to just finish this book. I just want to be done with it. So that's what we're gonna do today. I am just over, I think, halfway through the book. So that's what I'm about to do. I'm gonna sit here and finish this book all the way up until it's time to get the kids from school. And then whenever I get back from getting them from school, I will sit down and talk about my final thoughts and rating on this book. I'm very, I guess, interested just to see like how it ends and like what it goes through, but I'm not like invested really at all. Yeah, I would say I'm more so just like ready to get to the end of the book and be done with it. And I don't think that I'll be picking up another Tessa Bailey book, at least for a very long time. Like I think that I will probably end up unhauling the rest of my Tessa Bailey books, but I'll wait to give the final word, I guess, until I give the book the full try and finish it, I guess. So let's just finish this up real quick so that I can get to The Nightingale, because honestly, this is what I want to be doing right now. And this is making me glad that I decided to start this one first. I think that was the right move. So let's finish Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. Okay, I have officially, finally finished Secretly Yours by Tessa Bailey. My final rating on this is going to be, I think, like a 2.5. Both of the other books that I read of hers, I just rated a straight 2. And this was slightly better, I think because it was a lot longer than the other novellas that I've read by her. But I just think that she's not the right author for me. And that's, you know, that's fine. Going into a little bit of like what I did like and what I didn't like about the book, I'll start off with what I did like. There were two main things, honestly, that I liked about this book. The first thing, I already kind of talked about this a little bit, but one, I really enjoyed the plot line of them writing their little secret letters back and forth to each other. I felt like that was really cute. I like that in a book, whatever, we've talked about that. So that was one thing that I did like about this. And then the other thing that I did enjoy in this book was that our female main character, I saw a lot of myself in her in the way that she's very chaotic, and because of how kind of chaotic she is, it was kind of holding her back in things, because she would get really nervous about like committing to do things that she really wants to do, but she would get too nervous to commit to it because of how chaotic she was, that she didn't want to like let people down. And I feel like with that, like especially having ADHD, I feel like I have felt that a lot of times, like just the fear of like letting people down because of things that you don't fully have control over, like being late to things or getting overwhelmed with things. Like she was talking about how she has like poor time management skills and she's really bad at planning things, following a plan and all this stuff. So like that whole aspect of her character, I really enjoyed seeing her kind of realize that about herself, realize that it's not always a negative, and then also kind of find ways to get better at those things, and then also kind of seeing her step into her strength and be brave and go out and commit to things that she'd previously been too afraid to commit to, because they are like a big undertaking and like she didn't know if she was capable of doing those things, but she decided to try anyway. So I really appreciated that. And I will say as well, I do appreciate the way that the male main character towards the end of the book really just like accepted her chaos and didn't put her down for it. Like he really tried to make it a point that she knew that she doesn't have to like change who she is for him to love her. Like he'll love her with all of the chaos, and that again, like it's just not always a negative thing. So I appreciated all of those things, but at the end of the day, I just think that like the relationship in this book, like I just wasn't fully convinced by it. And I do think that part of the reason is because like I feel like you just don't get to see a lot of conversations that led to the buildup of their emotions. Like it's basically like they met in high school, he forgot that they met, then they meet again like in the now timeline, which first of all, we have this whole like conversation ongoing throughout the book about like once he finally remembers her from high school and all this stuff, but I feel like you don't get like any flashbacks to the high school timeline. So it's like, okay, now he remembers her, but why is it such a big deal that he remembers? Because no one even knows what took place in high school. Nobody even knows the conversations that you had. No one knows like what kind of emotional connection you even did have the few times that you guys had talked in high school or whatever, or you know what I'm saying? Like there was just no details really given about the past timeline. So then him remembering didn't even end up feeling like a big thing, because it's like, okay, well that's great, I'm glad you remember, because I still have no idea what happened. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of wish that there was a little bit more of the backstory, because I feel like that would help with the foundation of their relationship, because in the now perspective, it's like they write these letters back and forth and but it's like, I don't know, I just feel like they go from writing the secret letters to then once they hook up, it's like, okay, I'm not holding back anymore, I'm telling you my feelings and we're gonna be a couple now. And it's just like, okay, but like why all of a sudden do you guys love each other? I still don't know. And so I don't know, I just feel like it was very surface level and I just didn't really enjoy the writing. I don't know, like the jokes, even the spice in this, it's like I have read very few books where I'm reading the spice and I'm like, that's cringing me out, like that's actually giving me the ick. The only other books that I can think of where the spice has like icked me out are her other two novellas. So like at that point I'm like, that is my sign to just stop trying to read her books, because they're just not the right fit for me. And if you love these books, no hate to you at all. We just have different tastes in that regard and that's completely fine. But yeah, I'm going 2.5 stars because it was slightly better than the novellas, but like yeah, that's all I'm going to say on this. I'm ready to move on. So with that being said, it is finally time to start the highest rated book on my physical TBR, which is The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. So I have about 30 minutes before Marky's going to get home and we're going to go out to dinner all together. So I am going to start this and read it for a little bit before we go to dinner, and then after we get back from dinner, I will be continuing this tonight. I literally am in like such a mood to like get really far into this and just like get lost in the world. So those are our reading plans for tonight. Let's get into the next book. literally like 1:30 in the morning. I just got out of the bath and I have been reading The Nightingale literally all night. I am currently in the middle of chapter 21. I think it's page like 312, and this is so good so far. Like, I genuinely wish it was earlier in the night so that I could just keep reading. Like, it's just so interesting, and like not in like crazy plot way, but it's just like so believable, and like there are certain high stakes elements I feel like so connected to the characters already, because basically I think when I first started talking about this I was saying that I thought it was like a historical romance, but it's definitely like not romance. Like, there is a romance subplot barely, but primarily in this book you're following kind of like 3 different storylines. So you have 2 past storylines and 1 present storyline, and so far I would say it's about 90% in the past timeline and like maybe 10% in the present timeline. And in the past timeline that we're following the story of 2 sisters during World War I in, I believe it's France. I don't know why there's like so many different locations and names and stuff that I'm like having a hard time remembering, but I'm pretty sure they're in France. I'm horrible with this type of stuff. I feel like I've talked about that on the channel before, about how like I love history and like learning about things, but I'm horrible with dates, times, places, any of the details. I just like learning about it. But anyway, so we're following 2 sisters, and it's really interesting because the sisters are kind of like complete opposites, or like they're examples of like opposites of like how a woman may have reacted going through this, because basically it was like when Germany and like Hitler took over France and like all the Nazis were like occupying France, and like it's just so interesting because it feels like such a realistic portrayal of their lives. And so one of the sisters basically just tries to do her best and make it through all of the changes and what they're going through, and then the other sister, instead of just like trying her best to like make it through, is like really fighting against everything and is like, no, like there has to be something I can do. I'm not giving in. I know I'm only one person, but there has to be something I can do. And so I feel like that is like the difference between them. And so you're basically like every other chapter almost, it feels like, I mean sometimes in the same chapter it'll go back and forth, but like you just switch back and forth between like what the 2 sisters are doing and the different circumstances that they each are encountering and how they're both responding to things. And it's just so interesting. Like, I genuinely am so intrigued to see like what is going to happen and where we're going to go. I also am really intrigued to get back to the present timeline and kind of figure out like how it's going to end. I have a feeling it's going to be really sad. I feel like the way that the flashbacks are done in this really reminds me of like The Notebook, not again like romance wise, but in the way that like The Notebook I feel like is like 90% in the past, and then like you get a few little glimpses of the present timeline and then it ends in the present timeline. I feel like it'll be something similar like that, and like a really sad ending. So I don't necessarily feel ready for that, because this, just the way that it's written is just written so well that it's like so believable and like so just like captivating the way that it's written. I'm having a really good time, honestly. I expected myself to enjoy it, but like I didn't expect it to be so easy for me to get into this and like easy for me to enjoy it, I guess. Like I thought it was gonna be hard for me to get into it and like take me a really long time to like feel invested in the story and feel really interested, but like almost immediately after starting this I feel like I was very much just dropped right into the story. And I think it's just, that's like a testament to like how well this is written, because it's like, again, a lot of it is just like very mundane things, because it was just showing like, okay, this is their life before, this is kind of their backstory, and then all of a sudden France surrendered to Germany, and now all of a sudden all these changes are slowly happening. So like there are a lot of really mundane moments, and still somehow like it has not been boring literally at all throughout this entire thing so far. And like I said, I'm like 300 and something pages in. Like, I started it, we went to dinner, the whole time we were at dinner I was just thinking like all I want to do is go home and read this book. And then I got home and I read this for a few hours, and then when I went to take my bath I really wanted to keep reading it, so I literally have it on my Kindle as well, and I was reading it in the bath on my Kindle for literally hours. And now it's so late and like I need to go to bed, but all I want to do is keep reading. Did you guys hear Winston snoring? Hold on. I swear I've literally never been as cozy as that dog a day in my life. But anyway, I just needed to give you guys an update because I feel like this is just so like bingeable, because it really just feels like watching a movie. Like, it just, I don't know, that's like the only way that I can describe it. Like, the way that it's written, it just flows so easily that like before you know it, you've read 50 pages or 75 pages. And it's just like, I don't know, I feel like the pacing is perfect. I love the writing. I feel like both of our main characters are equally as interesting as each each other. Like, I'm not necessarily preferring one character more than the other. I think that they both, like, even though they're so different, there's just like so many levels to what is going on both sides that I can completely see and understand why each of the sisters is reacting and responding and making the choices that they're making, even though they are like so different. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it so far. I'm honestly really sad that I have to put it down tonight, but I was like, I made it so far into this book today that I was like, I literally need to update it before I completely pass out, because I have a feeling I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, get the kids to school, and just get right into it, because I like the place that I'm stopping. I literally started like feeling so tired in the bath. Like, I stopped in the middle of the chapter, and that's like, I don't like doing that. I like to like finish a chapter and then be like, okay, now I'll pause. But I literally just feel so tired. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's like almost 2 o'clock in the morning at this point. It was like 1:30 whenever I came into the room out of the bath. But yeah, I'm sure there's lots of things that I'm missing, but those are kind of just like my thoughts after my first day reading this. I'm so happy that I'm actually enjoying this, and also this feeling while reading this book is like so nice after reading Secretly Yours and just like not having the best time throughout it. This is like the feeling that I love when I'm reading books, where I'm just like, I know I'm going to be thinking about picking up this book and continuing reading it anytime that I have to put it down and like get other things done. And I love that. Like, I love the feeling of knowing that you have a good book to look forward to anytime that you have a break or anytime that you have a little moment to relax. It's like, I love the feeling of being in the middle of a book that you're just really, really enjoying, because you can just sit down and get right back into it. It's not like you have to start a new book and it's unknown if you're gonna like it, or you're in the middle of a book and you're just kind of wanting it to be over already, like you're not having the best time. Like, this is the best feeling whenever it's like a book that you know as soon as you open it you're gonna be immediately put back into it, so you just like really look forward to it. So those are my little bedtime thoughts for The Nightingale. I'm gonna go to sleep. I will see you guys tomorrow. I feel like tomorrow is gonna be a lot more devastating because we're entering the second half of the book, and I've seen people cry to this book, so I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm like a little bit afraid. But anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. You gonna come sit? Come sit. I don't want to play. He wants to play right now. He just ate breakfast and he always gets so much energy. Okay, well, we'll see how long this lasts. Good morning. I am here to update The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna because, oh my god, I finished this last night and I was so just emotionally distraught and also tired because I keep just staying up into the middle of the night to read. But this book, 5 stars. First of all, let me start off by saying this is a 5-star book. This is such a beautiful story. Honestly, reading this gives me a lot of hope that I'll really like the historical fiction genre. Like, I haven't, like I said, read really much at all. Like, I think this is like my first true historical fiction that I've read because, like I said, the only other one that I can think of at the top of my head that might kind of fall under that category would be Divine Rivals, but that's also like a fantasy, so it's not like just historical fiction. I just think that Divine Rivals is like a fantasy with like a historical fiction setting, maybe. This book was so good, and I feel like I really liked it because, like, I have been talking about so much recently how I feel like I just am really, really craving like deeply emotional storylines, and like that has been what has been getting me in books lately, and like what has been raising my ratings in books. Like, whenever there's just such a good emotional plot line and like you can just know the characters so well and feel their emotions, and it's like so deeply believable. Like, it's not just like good for the purpose of being entertaining, like it's genuinely like moving, I guess, if that makes sense. And this was just so good. It was so heartbreaking. After getting into the second half of the book, I completely understand why every single video that I see people reading this in, like, you're just sobbing by the end, because literally same. It's just like by the end of the book, because you've been with the characters through so much, like literally from before the war kind of reached their area to all the way after, like you literally see the entire process, and the way that it's written is just, it feels so real. I think the other thing too that that kind of like made it hit deeper is just the fact that like, yes, this is fiction, but I just feel like this is probably so accurate to like the lives of so many women and children and men, honestly, like what people went through in the war. And like, it's always just so heartbreaking to learn about and to hear about and like realize that that was somebody's reality. I mean, obviously this exact storyline is not, because again, it's fiction, like I'm aware, but you know what I'm saying. It's like this stuff did happen in real life. Like I feel like this is not too far off from what could have been somebody's reality in this time, which is just so sad. And I think that that's honestly what was getting me so much, like towards the end of the book, especially because the characters felt so real. And then it just makes you start to think like, oh my god, I just cannot believe that this is a thing that millions of people had to live through and try to survive. And just, it is just heartbreaking, like genuinely heartbreaking. I truly think that this story will be with me for such a long time, just again because of how well written it was. Like these characters truly just feel so real, and I really do feel like I love Kristen Hanna's writing. It was so easy to get into, so easy to like follow along, I guess. I think because the pacing just felt perfect. I feel like at no point in this book did I feel like, okay, things are slowing down or like this was unnecessary. Like no, every single word and page in this book felt just perfect for the story, like exactly what it needed. It was just like, I don't even know what else to say about it. This was just heartbreaking, beautiful, so well written, perfect pacing, a very emotional and moving story, and it definitely makes me want to pick up more historical fiction in the future. And I'm so glad that I finally picked it up. It's kind of nice that I read it before the end of the year, because then I can go into 2026 and have a new author on my radar that I would love to read more of next year. I have a couple of authors that I've read this year like that, where I've read like one or two of their books, and I'm really excited going into next year because I feel like I have a new like roster of authors that have been really highly rated, and I really like their writing style, and like their stories are just perfect for me, I guess. And I'm really excited to get into more of her books. So if you also like Kristen Hanna, I know that she has a ton of books out. If you could recommend to me which books of hers you think I should pick up next, let me know, because I am going to be doing an unhaul before 2026, and with the books that I unhaul, I'm going to let myself use like whatever money I make from taking those to half price books or taking them to little free libraries, and like whatever books I find there, those are the only books that I'm gonna let myself buy. And then I'm starting a book buying ban at the beginning of January 2026. I don't know how long it will go, but I really just want to prioritize my physical TBR. It's not even like I want to go on a book buying ban because like, oh, I just like need to stop buying books. Like it's like I want to read my physical TBR, but I just have ADHD and I get distracted by new shiny things. I need to just not let myself buy books so that I'm not distracted from the books that I really want to read. And this is a prime example because this has been on my shelf literally all 2025. I'm pretty sure I got this like either at the very end of last year or in January of 2025. So reading books off my physical TBR from these like different challenges that I've done, I feel like that has just reminded me that like I have literal gold sitting on my shelves waiting to be read, and I need to just prioritize reading them because obviously I picked them up for a reason. Every single book on my shelves I have bought because I see potential in loving the story, and I just need to remember that and remember why I bought the books in the first place, because this is a perfect example. Literally a beautiful 5-star sitting on my shelves unread until now, which I'm so glad that I picked it up. But with that being said, that does bring us to the end of today's BOOKMAS video. I hope that you guys are enjoying BOOKMAS so far. If you have not already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss all of the BOOKMAS videos that are still to come. Also just all of the bookish content that is to come as well. Like I said, I am planning on starting a book buying ban. So my plan for the new year with my reading vlogs is just to do a lot of reading challenges centered around my physical TBR so that we can get through it together, kind of shop my shelves and just prioritize my physical TBR. So if that sounds interesting to you as well, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss all of that content from me. Also, before I go, a quick thank you to all of my patrons over on my Patreon book club. If you guys are ever interested in checking that out, the link to the book club is always down in my description box down below. But other than that, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!